Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with the Real Life Health Show, and I wanted to make a video replying to a comment from my last video. My last video was titled, "The Raw Food Diet Doesn't Work." Now, folks, the raw food diet does work, and it's wonderful. I made that title to grab your attention to understand the idea of what I've explained all along is the raw food diet is the best way to eat for man today, in my opinion. From my personal experience and experience I've seen with others, there's no better diet for man, for every single person. We are born as fruit pickers to pick fruit off the tree and eat it. We are not born or we are not able to digest properly. We are not able to capture properly animals. A person can survive eating animals, but there's a difference between surviving and thriving. And if a person is not already toxic where they got to detoxify first, the raw food diet is the best way for a person to thrive for the longest time. Now, when I put out this video about the raw food diet not working, what I'm trying to say is, as good as it is, it's still not a panacea. There's so many other things that come to, we got to take into account when it comes to our health. Food being a big part of it, but if you have a tremendous amount of stress from other things, or you're lacking other things, you know, food's going to only last a certain amount of time. You got to pay attention to all the aspects of health. Somebody wrote this comment. They said, "Wow, very disappointed. I've been watching your videos for a year now, and you have said on many occasions that the raw life does prevent cancer and other diseases. And now an about face. I'm sorry to say I've lost your credibility." Well, listen, first of all, the raw food diet does help prevent, prolong cancer. I mean, and all disease. That's what it does. Because when you look at the chemical makeup of the raw food and what causes disease, the way to avoid disease is to eliminate the cause. It's like folks playing Russian roulette. If you have a bullet in one of the slots but not the other slots, every time you pull the trigger, nothing's going to come out if there's no bullet in that slot. But when that bullet's in that slot, that bullet's going to come out. Well, we all have inherited weaknesses. But what the raw food diet is it prevents us from pulling the trigger. And it prevents us having to suffer from that. If we eat things that aren't healthy and shouldn't be in our bodies or we weren't designed to eat, it's like pulling the trigger a lot and eventually, or a lot quicker, you're going to get that bullet. So the raw food diet does help prevent cancer. That's my point, and that's what I've always said. It helps prevent cancer. It helps prolong cancer. But like I said in the previous video, and I'm going to put the link up to that video right here. Like I said in this video, I know people eating a raw food diet for a long time that are getting cancer. And they're not living any longer than the average person. A big part of that is they're not understanding about detoxification from their previous lifestyle. They're not understanding about detoxification from the other things that they don't have control over, like the environment and other toxins that are getting in their body. They don't understand these things, so they got to continuously do things to detoxify. That's one thing. Another thing is people need to understand that the raw food diet is great, but if somebody was going to get cancer at 30 years old and they got cancer at 70 years old, the raw food diet just added 40 years to their life. So I'm not going to say it completely helps somebody not get cancer, because I don't want people to be deceived to think they could eat a raw diet and they're going to be healthy. I said it. I know people who do and they got cancer. They eat raw food and they got cancer. I don't think the raw food diet caused the cancer. If anything, it prolonged the cancer from manifesting. So we have to understand this. And, you know, this person is very disappointed. If you were deceived to see one of my videos where I said that the raw food diet prevents cancer and other diseases every single time, never said that. You know, you must have seen one of my videos where I said how the raw food diet is wonderful and prevents cancer, but I'm cautioning people all the time. There's no panaceas, folks. So we got to be careful. And now, in all fairness, well, what could we do and what's the best thing to do? Well, I have a ton of videos on my website that talk about the ideal way to eat the raw food diet, because even that you can mess up. And yes, there's different types of a raw food diet. Eating candy bars all day that are raw is not the raw food diet that I recommend. Even eating raw food recipes all day is not the type of diet I recommend. So you want to go to my website and you can see all the different ways and the things we can do to get the ideal diet. But this other question will help people. It says, I'm starting to understand your theory here on raw foods, but you never told us what you think will sedate us for a long term or help us long term. What is your theory? I can't see someone getting disease if they fast and eat raw foods. Just wondering. Well, first of all, I really appreciate and like this person says, what is your theory? Because it is a theory. I'll be honest with you, folks. It's a theory. And I'm not happy when other raw foodists or health people come on and they make things, it's this way or no way. No, it's all a theory, hopefully based on some good information. But there's no one right way when it comes to eating the diet that is best for everyone, because we have to look at an individual situation, where the person is, and so on. For example, somebody that's living in a north climate, 100% raw might not be as well as them as for somebody living in a southern climate. So these are things we need to take into consideration. But ultimately, the more raw fruits and vegetables you have in your diet, the better off you're going to be from a science standpoint. From in terms of what foods have the most nutrients in them, organic. What foods are the easiest to digest? The foods that have their enzymes in them and not destroyed. And so from these areas. So this person goes, you never told us what will sedate us for a long time or help us for a long time. I've always told you. I didn't tell us in the last video, but this is what I tell people all the time. The daylight diet. See, folks, what we eat is very important, but when we eat and how much we eat is extremely important. Or I should say when we don't eat and how little we eat, because too many people overeat. And that's an extremely common issue we have today. Overeating is one of the major causes of discomfort, dis-ease. And if we simply eliminate that, our chances of getting stuff are going to be significantly reduced. That's why I have a book called The Daylight Diet where I talk about that. And all my videos I talk about the time we eat. And then overeating is a big problem too. People aren't satisfied because the nutrients are just not in the food. So they're eating a lot of food where the nutrients have either been destroyed by processing or they just were never there because of the poor soil. So a lot of people eating and not getting what they need, so they're continuously craving more food. And then on an emotional, spiritual level, people are just never satisfied, so they're trying to eat more food to fill a void. And all these things combined are making this problem worse, but people are doing it later and later at night. So overeating and eating late at night are two things that need to be avoided. Of course, if for a long term, we need to make sure we're getting our exercise, drink enough water, get enough sleep, monitor our health through our blood work, and eat the highest quality diet we can get. Remember, folks, the higher the quality of the food and the less garbage in the food, the better off we're going to be. So you got to think of it, power minus obstruction equals vitality. If we have food that has a lot in it and very little to get rid of, we eat it, our body gets what it needs with very little waste to get rid of. Because the body takes more energy in digestion food than anything else. Now, if you eat a low quality food gives us the least nutrition-wise and has the most waste left over, well, we got to get rid of it, working very hard to make the body get rid of that. The key when it comes to diet is find the foods that are going to give your body the most to get rid of the least. And those would be raw, ripe, fresh, organic fruits, vegetables, and to some degree nuts and seeds if you don't overdo them. So these are things to consider, and this is what I've been doing and telling people for a long time of how to satisfy themselves. Yes, you need to monitor your blood work, and it's really important that not only to monitor your blood work for disease, but really monitor your blood work to see if the diet's working for you, if you're getting what you need, because even though raw food is so great, are the nutrients in that food? Are you able to absorb those nutrients? These are things you can only really confirm by getting blood work done on a regular basis, and not just your average blood test. This is why I'm such a big advocate of Dr. Shandell and the CA profile, his chemistry profile. And somebody said, I can't see someone getting a disease if they fast and eat raw foods. Well, I would love to agree with you. However, that's what I thought for a very long time until I started seeing people eating raw foods and fasting getting diseases. And I was really concerned what is going on here because it just doesn't make sense. And these are the problems I ran into. Some of them just weren't doing it the right way. Some of them were just cheating, and others of them were just over-consuming the food. So there were many different reasons, but again, the raw food is not a panacea, but the best way to go. Okay? Your best chance to live your longest life, highest quality, with as little chance of getting diseases possible is eating a raw food diet. But you got to do it at the right time. You got to do it in the right amounts and so on. Now, some other people put comments on their video saying, I've tried the raw food diet and it didn't work for me, so I'm correct. Well, you missed my point, folks. You know, the raw food diet can work for everybody. Now, if you're living in a cold climate, yes, having some cooked food in your diet would be very helpful. But if you're trying to do a raw food diet, you know, and you think it didn't work for you, a lot of people have this notion in their head, because that's the way we're brought up, that we need to get protein, we need animal meat, we can't be vegetarians, we can't be vegans. You know, there are a lot of people that say a lot of different things, or think a lot of different things like that. But I am living proof. I've been eating a raw food diet for a long time, and it's healed me of a condition that the doctors are still looking for a medical cure. Hippocrates Health Institute is a world-class health spa where people go there with all sorts of diseases, including cancer, and many of them are getting better. But not all of them are getting better. So the thing is, if you hear somebody went there and they didn't get better, you automatically say, well, this diet doesn't work. Well, what about all the people that did get better? You see, this is why I say, you know, we got to look at the numbers-wise. There's no panacea, but there is, you know, good evidence or numbers to teach us what is our best chance, our best percentage. And looking at it that way, I've met a good amount of people that have gotten better from eating a raw food diet. And, you know, it's just something we have to work out for ourselves in terms of, can we get all the that's a funny question I get. Can we get the nutrients we need from raw foods, raw fruits and vegetables? I'm like, okay, supplement if you need to. And I do believe we need to take supplements, but can we get all we need from the food? Well, if you're not getting it from raw food, where are you going to get it from? Processed junk food that's fortified with vitamins? Well, why not eat a raw food diet and just add some vitamins? You know, to make it harder on your body is not the answer. So, you know, but the raw food diet does work. This person that's disappointed, I'm glad you've been watching my videos, and the raw food diet does prevent cancer. That's it. But it's not a panacea. It's still possible to get cancer, but it helps to prolong or help the person avoid it. So that's my reply to that person that's disappointed. And hopefully he won't give up on the videos yet, and check that out. All right, everybody, if you have any comments or questions, post them below the video. Until then, have a great day and a great raw life. Hello, everybody. Thank you for checking out my channel. If you want more videos, you can click subscribe here right now, and you can be taken to my channel. If you want to check out my website, you can click here, and you can go to my website. I want to thank you for checking us out. Stay safe, stay healthy, have a great day, and a great raw life.